So hi, this is Trina Kavanagh-Thomas. I am a body and mindset business coach, and I am sharing this for the amazing business women that are out there who are looking to unlock their physical and emotional well-being by sharing guest expert interviews. So when you take that time off away from social media, that you've got something that's going to help you either move you forward, but also seek out these beautiful, beautiful and amazing human beings. So today I am with the beautiful Jaswinder. And what can I say? What can I actually say about you? Because the thing is, right, psychotherapist, hypnotherapist, tell you what, just beautiful, beautiful spiritual being, just shining light. That's what I really want to say, shining light, just transformational as well, and just award-winning. Gosh, it's just so much. Tell us about yourself.
Hello there, my name is Jaswinder, as Trina mentioned, and I sort of am in the helping and healing business. I am trying to spread my light. Have had an amazing mystical experience actually to do with the light at one point in my life, and I've been helping people with psychotherapy. I work with coaching as well. I teach yoga as well. So there's kind of like a variety of things that I do. I'm kept quite busy, but I have loved everything that I've done. I've done lots of work in the communities as well. Sorry, excuse me. In the charities, in the charity and voluntary sector, I've done lots of work there. I've worked with HIV and AIDS, mental health, lots of different, experiences.
Wow.
Yeah, so it has been quite phenomenal, intense,
Wow.
but very interesting.
And the thing is, you've met Prince Charles. So
Yes.
share.
You know what? This is really strange because I have actually met Prince Charles 3 times.
Oh
and
my
each
gosh.
time And each time I got a bit closer to him. Let me just take you through very quickly. The first time was he came with his mum, the Queen, to our school because it was the Silver Jubilee year, 1977, and I was at the school called Silver Jubilee School. And so they came to our school, and I remember everything was, closed off, a lot of security, and, we were little children then, all sat in assembly, and Prince Charles and the Queen, they gave a speech, and it was lovely. So that was the first time when I was really young in middle school. Then the second time was when he came to our town, Bedford, to open the Butterfly Bridge on our famous river, the Embankment, which is so beautiful. Even Bollywood have been here to record a shooting on one of the bridges. But at that time, only lower school children, their parents, the children's parents and the teachers were allowed through invitation. So my son was at lower school at that time when Prince Charles came, and I went because the parents were invited. And so we watched him, and all the children were standing there. Prince Charles, I was standing with my son, and Prince Charles was going around shaking the little children's hands. And he shook my son's hand, and my son went all red and full of excitement. And he looked at me and, Mummy, he shook my hand. He was so excited, this little 4-year-old, and I was really pleased. I was so happy for him that he had that experience. Later, little did I know, just a few years after that, he would be coming to where I was working. I was working in Luton. We were doing lots of community projects in the community, trying to help people to move past their mindset about being stuck in their health and well-being. So we had lots of different classes on, exercise classes, we had cultural programs, we had mental health projects, all sorts going on. lecturing, as well as physical involvement, and as well as group work. And we did lots of work around the ethnic minority communities as well. And so Prince Charles came, and you know, it was all organised by the trustees with Prince Charles. You know, we had this day when he came, and again, lots of it was security, etc. And all the workers like myself, we were in our little area with our groups and with our banners and boards and everything we were doing. And so when he walked over to me and stood by me and I started asking questions, I was a little taken aback initially because I wasn't expecting that. I thought he was just going to talk to the really top people. But when
I bet you're so nervous.
I was really nervous, but as we got talking, I calmed down because he did have such a calming presence, really, really lovely. And one of my colleagues luckily did take a picture of me and him standing there talking, and so I still have that. But that was an amazing experience for me. Yeah, so I've met him 3 times.
Oh my gosh, I'm not sure if there's many people who could like go, oh yeah, I've met him like 3 times or something like that. But how amazing is that? And you weren't foresee that, you know, obviously when he shook your son's hand, and I bet your son didn't wash his hand afterwards, not for a long time. But you know, you weren't to see that you were actually going to meet him again, and obviously in a different setting. So in a setting that, you know, that obviously you guys are created. So tell me a little bit about, because I know you're in a cultural magazine. Tell me about the magazine that you're in.
Oh gosh, this is like going back in my early 20s. I was working at the council, and I kind of like, you know, like from school days, I had this like interest in trying to teach people about different cultures, because I don't know, like going back in the 60s, late 60s and 70s, a lot of people who were around then, especially at school, would remember quite a lot of racism, you know, being called packing or all sorts of things, you know, like, so I wanted to spread knowledge and awareness. And what happened was, again, I think it was through Prince Charles Trust, I think it was. He was giving funding for youth projects, and so I applied to get a tape recorder so I can record interviews, and I applied for a year's funding to get this magazine printed. And I got it. I got the funding. And so I spent a whole year running this magazine. I had some volunteers that came on board a few times, but I would go out, interview different people from different cultural backgrounds and talk about their culture, and then get this printed in the magazine. And it was a monthly magazine. And I was recognized by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who ran his spiritual meditation program at Mentmore Towers. Mentmore Towers was originally the house of the Rothschild family, and it was later then bought by this Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. And he ran all his transcendental meditation classes from there, and lots of, back in those days, meditation wasn't as big, you know, here as it is now. So it was only people that were really insightful or into it or had money that used to go there. So again, when I was invited for this special grand opening, going on stage, there was a lush dinner put on, you know, for everybody attending, for the ceremony awards. And then, you know, I took one of my friends with me, and when they called my name out, I was so nervous. I said to him, come with me on the stage. And he said, this is your moment, Jas. I'm sending you here. So off I had to go to collect this. I was so nervous. I was shaking. But that was part of me, like letting go of my fears and my shyness, and unblocking myself. You know, it was like low self-esteem, low confidence issues, obviously. But here I was with this award, and they then put it in their newsletter as well. They took pictures, and so it was in their newsletter that went out to loads of people around the world, because this is an international organization, you know. So
how exciting.
yeah, but looking back now, I don't think I realized actually how big that was at the time. I was too young, and
That's huge.
that was huge. Yeah.
It's huge. It
I'm
is.
only realizing that now, you know, but at the time I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, you know, what you're saying is like you know, it takes sometimes people a long time to even get to that point of, you know, of that kind of achievement on that scale as well.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that, you know, you felt really nervous, you know,
Very
that,
nervous.
and that your confidence was really low as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'd like to kind of, you know, touch on those points, because you
Okay.
mentioned obviously, you know, that you know, that you saw the light at the beginning. So yeah, I'm wondering how they're kind of connected.
The light thing comes a bit later, so
Yeah.
we can come back to that.
Yeah.
But in terms of my nervousness and me not having the confidence, it was because, you know, I was obviously coming from a culture where, you know, if you go back to the 60s and 70s, women were just, you know, majority of us were just being brought up, domesticated, to then be married off and be domesticated for the husband and his family. You know, they weren't allowed to pursue careers, not like now. A lot of the women are able to go to university or college and pursue careers. Back then we weren't. And, you know, as much as I wanted to, I had ambitions, I had dreams that I wanted to, you know, go for, but I was being blocked all the time. You know, there was this whole patriarchal, cultural, societal thing that was blocking me, you know, and even the magazine, it was exposing me when I used to go out and interview people. And, you know, I was meeting lots of different people from all sorts of backgrounds. And I remember my father, he didn't like it because it was taking me out of what he was used to. You know, his daughter, she's not in the role that he's used to women and daughters being in, you know. I was stepping out of that. It was very uncomfortable for him, and so he was trying to stop me, block me. He was saying like, well, because I tried to explain that this is for the benefit of other people, and it's helping people, and it's raising awareness. And his answer to a lot of that was, not in our community, not in our community. It doesn't happen. You're a woman, you know. So it was like I would get shut down, you know. And this is why the confidence thing was very, very, like, you know, had lots of doors slammed on my confidence all the time, you know, from women as well, not just men, from women. You know, you get the women, the older women who think they know it all in our communities and society, and they think they point the finger at you and you should be doing this, and, you know. So it was like constant slamming of doors, knocking my confidence, layer after layer after layer. So no wonder there I am, you know, exposed on this stage and in the spotlight, and there's cameras and lights going off, and I'm shaking, you know.
Wow. It's that being seen, isn't it?
Yeah.
It goes with that fear, you know, that fear of being seen. Because if you're being seen, then someone's going to say something, you know. And to some people, even though we may not even realize it, and even to people who may be watching this right now, if you've had, you know, an upbringing, for instance, where you are stopped, blocked, maybe you've been, you know, hurt as well. Sometimes that comes with you as you kind of go along, and sometimes you can't remember as to why you feel that way. Sometimes you feel so scared, because I remember being in bed with my husband one night and I was crying, and he's going, "Why are you crying for?" And I went, because like if I keep talking, I don't know if someone's going to actually come and beat me up. And I know, like, it sounds so irrational, but that was the feeling. That was That was the feeling behind it. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, like I sort of, you know, as I said, have been blocked by so many people, and then there's
Yeah.
been this fear of actually stepping out of that. You know, what
Mm-hmm.
will people say? What will people do? In fact, there was like a few years back, I was involved in a program by the river, because we have a festival at the river, this lovely river I mentioned earlier,
Yeah,
where
it sounds
Prince
great.
Charles came. We have we have like a festival every 2 years, and a few years back I was involved in dances of India. So we did a set of dancing, and I was on stage. Again, I was so nervous, but it helped being with other women. But there was a part
Yeah.
of me saying, people are going to be watching you from the community. They're going to be talking
Yes.
about you, you know. Immediately that voice in my head, and you know, all the people from the community, they will say, what is she doing on stage? What is she doing dancing? You know, why is she doing this? Doesn't she know any better? So that talk in their head, it was trying to hold me back. And you know, when you start, those voices start to come forward, the anxiety kicks in and you start feeling the symptoms. So I always feel like the butterflies here in my stomach area, you know, and they start to sort of, and you have to deal with that, you know. So I knew, for me, I had to change that mindset and say, I have to go through with it. I have to break this. I have to break it and go past it and do it. And, you know, after I did it, I felt so liberated. I felt so good.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
amazing.
And the thing is, you do feel so, you know, you feel so liberated, don't you, when you actually break through something that's like blocking you and holding you back. What would be the first thing that you would say to help someone if they were, you know, in the situation where they kept stopping themselves from like moving forward, doing the thing that they want to do, so they can show up and shine like what you do?
Okay, well, I kind of learnt very early on that it's the fear, and we all know that fear. Obviously, there's two sides to the fear, because there's a side where we go into our fight and flight, and it's there in a way to protect us, isn't it? So
Yeah, absolutely.
it's there to alert us of danger and to protect us when we sense danger. So, you know, we sense some danger and immediately we're alerted, our fight and flight kicks in. We fight or we run away, you know. But the other side of it is that it can take us into the fear. And when it takes us into the fear, then we have another choice: either stay with the fear and become paralyzed or crippled into that fear and stay stuck. So then you've got this other part where I've worked with a lot of clients on this third part, which is called freeze, because then that fear will give you that crippling, paralyzing feeling where you just freeze into yourself. And then your fear takes over, and that fear will keep coming up every time you try to do what it was you wanted to do. And then it's a lot harder to move, you know, through. And then it becomes a lot harder. But when the fight and flight kicks in, if then at that time, when that fear hits you, if then you move past the fear, you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to feel the fear and do it anyway. You know, I learned that from, you know, the lady who wrote the book, Susan Jeffers, a long time ago.
Yeah.
When it first came out, feel the fear and do it anyway. When I read that, I thought, right, I'm just going to do it now. Everything I was saying, I'm just going to do it. So that's what I remind myself. Feel the fear and do it anyway, so that I push past my fear and I tell myself, this fear is false. It's not real, it's false.
Yes.
Right? So this is where then the light comes in. Let me share that with you as well.
Yeah,
so now
absolutely.
You've got the fear. So you've got the fear, and then you've got the light. Okay? So then I don't want to ignore the fear. What I do is I try to merge it into the light. That's what I do.
That is,
because
that's
they're
so
both a part of us.
sense.
They're both a part of us. We can't suppress that fear back into something, because that's not validating, acknowledging what's really going on. What I try to do is I move it into the light, and that's then integrating it into a wholeness and bringing wellness. This is true wellness, because as things that come up, move them into the light, we move forward. Something else comes up, move it into the light, we move forward again. That's how I've come so far, you know, in doing all the things I've done, because I wouldn't have achieved half the things I've achieved had I not been working on these things and had the insights and the mindset and pushing through with like strength and determination, you know, despite all the holdbacks.
And that's so beautiful. It's so, you know, it's so beautiful, because, you know, when you mention about the fear, procrastination is, you know, it gets banded about loads and loads, you know, I'm procrastinating. And there is a societal thing that it's seen as being like lazy, but actually really it's just fear. And your body, I mean, you've been through this, I've been through this as well, and your body just don't want to do it. I'm not moving, not going anywhere. And you find it so it's always like you find it so difficult, don't you, like just even just get up and go do something, or your body will take you in a different direction to where you actually want to go or where you need to be. And it's, you know, and it's recognizing that procrastination and knowing, for many people, which they don't know, it's fear. It's fear.
Yeah, you see, the procrastination, as I said, all it is that fear. We just got to move it into the light. That's all it is. Yeah, that's all it is. It's that ego part of us that says, you can't do it. You can't do it, you know? And
you're not good enough to do that.
We've got to step into the light and say, well, yes, I'm going to do it. I am going to do it. And I'm going to take you with me. And I'm going to take you with me.
Yes, yeah, that's so true. I don't know about you, but you have like little conversations with yourself where, because, you know, like where you go, you know what, come on now, we'll do this together. And like you take your, go, come on, we're gonna go together like this. We're going in this direction over here. And it is about sometimes, because, you know, sometimes for some people, it paralyzes them so much that it might be a case of just doing it a little bit slower. So they're still doing it, but you're doing it just at a different speed. And when you do it, the feeling is immense, right? The feeling. It's so beautiful. So
like they said, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So as long as we start small and keep plodding along, you know, we can see that we can continue to achieve our goal. We might not achieve it overnight, but if we keep plodding along, we'll get there.
Wow.
Making a step, daily step. That's all we need to do. Just keep taking that daily step, because we don't want to overload and stress ourselves either.
Yeah,
we need to acknowledge ourselves, love ourselves, and, you know, not put ourselves back into the trauma that we've already, you know, experienced so many times.
Absolutely. And you were so, I mean, like, you really hit the nail on the head when you said, you know, taking that, you know, taking the darkness, well, not the darkness, the fear, the darkness, whatever you want to call it, and then bringing it into the light and not suppressing it back down. Because that suppression, and both me and you know, that suppression gets held inside you, and then it will manifest some other way, injury, pain, whatever, illness, whatever it comes up as. But when you start to release it, it's not as, you know, sometimes it's not as painful as what people thought it was going to be, because the fear is so big to many of us. The fear of it is so big to many of us.
Yeah, absolutely. So many of our issues these days to do with health and well-being, you know, whether it's mental health, like anxiety or depression, or whether it's, you know, a lot of the more chronic illnesses, a lot of them are to do with long-term suppressed energy. You keep suppressing, you keep suppressing, you keep suppressing. It's in the body, but it's going to come out somehow. But it comes out in ways we don't want it to. It comes out negatively. Yeah.
Yeah, it either does, you know, comes out the way you don't want it to, or it comes out at the wrong time as well. Yeah, I've mentioned this quite a lot. You know, you could be working all year, and I don't know, I'm sure many of you watching this right now, you've worked all year, you've waited for Christmas, you've taken the time out to find that you're ill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's because the body's not allowed, you know, it's not being allowed, is it? It's not allowed out. So it comes out, so it comes out at different times in different ways. Tell us about your, I hear you get a fellowship.
My what, sorry?
Fellowship. I've heard you got a fellowship.
Oh, the fellowship. Oh, right, yes. Well, like I said, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going, taking one step at a time. I've been working in, you know, like I said, for counselling, psychotherapy, hypnotherapy, you know, for well over like 20 to 30 years. And year after year, I've been teaching loads of students, I've been seeing clients, I've been doing supervision, I've been doing coaching, and I've been using lots of my other modalities. And recently, the Hypnotherapy Society, they recognised all the work that I do and all the effort that I make, and they contacted me and said that they wanted to offer me the fellowship. Would I like to accept it? I was, again, you know, I was overjoyed. I was overjoyed, and I was emotional, and I was, you know, what I did, I tell you what I did, and I want to say this for the benefit of our listeners, because a lot of our trauma, a lot of what we go through goes back to childhood. Yeah. And when I received that fellowship, what I did was I put my hands on my abdomen as if, like, you know, you got a baby inside you. And I said to my inner child, this is for you. I want to acknowledge you. This fellowship is for you, because you have put up with so much. You have worked so hard. You went through everything and you kept going. And this is for you. Wow, you know? That's amazing. That's amazing. And so, I mean, like, just doing that and then acknowledging your inner child, that your inner child is there. And the thing is, your inner child, and, you know, for those that are watching this and never, you know, spoken to your inner child, you know, sometimes it is time to speak to your inner child, because they want to be listened to. They do. They really want to be listened to. You know, just like, you know, I'm sure many people who are watching this got kids or whatever. Like, your kids want to be listened to. Absolutely. Obviously. You know, your kids want to be listened to. Your inner child is just the same. Your inner child is just going to do the same thing. And, you know, to do that. And then obviously to take this amazing fellowship in and, you know, and accept it and know to celebrate it. And that is, you know, it's true reward in itself, isn't it? Like, absolutely. After all these years of hard work, and someone's, you know, finally saying to you, look, we know what you're doing. We recognize you. Because that's the one thing that I've just slowly got on with life, with things. I've been behind the scenes person, plodding along, and not really been at the forefront because of, again, you know, that's why when I received the fellowship, it was my inner child that I went to, because my inner child was so invisible when I was growing up. It was not recognized for anything. It was made to feel very, very invisible. And it was like, you know, no, not you, go away, no, not you, go, you know, it was like that sort of thing. So I was very always, even at school, I was always in the background. I was always in the background for everything. And I've had to push through and push through and push through. And, you know, finally, something like this fellowship, it's like, wow, You know, it's like,
Wow.
wow. Yeah. It's just made everything so worthwhile. It really has.
Yeah.
And I'm so deeply honored to the universe, you know, that it brought that recognition for me, despite everything, you know, that I've been through, that at the end of the tunnel, there has been that light.
Wow. And I feel, you know, having interviews like this with, you know, such amazing, amazing women just like yourself, just shows like the power of, you know, people can block you in life, you know, but you can come through this. You can really, really come through this.